Rejection psychology. The hidden mystery behind why your brain craves the people who hurt you is one of the most misunderstood forces shaping human behavior. And once you see the mechanics behind this phenomenon, you'll realize that most of your strongest attachments were never about love, destiny, or compatibility, but about how the human brain responds to uncertainty, scarcity, and emotional starvation. You're about to understand why the person who gives you the least attention becomes the one you can stop thinking about, and why your brain transforms rejection into desire. Everything starts with a fundamental paradox. Emotional rejection activates the same regions of the brain involved in physical pain. Yet instead of pushing you away from the source of hurt, your mind becomes more drawn to it. The pain of rejection doesn't repel you, it intensifies your focus. It narrows your attention to the one person withholding something you desperately want. This shift begins in the dopamine system, not when you receive affection, but when you are deprived of it. Deprivation creates anticipation. Anticipation creates obsession, and obsession fools the brain into believing the person is essential. This is the psychology of intermittent reward, the same mechanism that makes casinos irresistible. When someone gives you affection inconsistently, your mind enters a cycle of unpredictability, where the rare moments of attention hit you harder than consistent love ever could. The uncertainty becomes a psychological drug. A single message, a small compliment, a moment of softness. All of it becomes amplified. Your brain assigns exaggerated meaning to crumbs because they arrive rarely enough to feel like a victory. But the craving goes deeper. Your brain is wired to avoid unanswered questions. Rejection creates an emotional cliffhanger, an unresolved narrative your mind can't let go of. Instead of accepting what happened, your brain searches for explanation, closure, justification. You begin replaying conversations, reading meaning into silence, constructing theories, imagining alternate outcomes. You're not chasing the person, you're chasing resolution. The confusion becomes addictive, and the absence of answers transforms into emotional tension that demands relief. Evolution adds another layer to this mystery. In early human societies, being rejected by your group wasn't just painful, it was dangerous. Isolation meant vulnerability, threats, and lower chances of survival. So the human brain developed a panic bonding response. When you sense disapproval, you cling harder to the source of it, not because it's healthy, but because your brain learned that acceptance equals safety. Even if the person is bad for you, the instinct to win back approval is deeply rooted in your biology. This instinct mixes with your attachment patterns. If you grew up with inconsistent affection, sometimes present, sometimes withdrawn, your brain unconsciously equates inconsistency with love. Your nervous system recognizes instability as familiar. Familiar becomes comfortable. Comfortable becomes desirable. You begin to interpret anxiety as attraction, longing as love, and emotional chaos as intensity. The ego complicates the picture even more. When someone likes you, it feels good. But when someone rejects you, it becomes a threat, not to your heart, but to your identity. Your brain becomes desperate to restore the version of yourself you felt before the rejection. You're not trying to win the person, you're trying to win back the feeling of being worthy. And here lies the deepest psychological trap. The moment someone pulls away, your perception of their value skyrockets. Not because they possess something special, but because their absence creates scarcity. And scarcity feels like importance. Your brain is not romantically in love, it's neurologically invested. And now we reach the point where the cycle becomes self-reinforcing, where emotional deprivation creates desire, and desire creates illusions your brain mistakes for truth. Once your brain locks into the rejection loop, it begins rewriting the story to justify the obsession. You overestimate their positive traits, minimize their flaws, and inflate every sign of possible interest. Because your mind is desperate for coherence, you begin imagining potential instead of seeing reality. Your brain creates a fantasy version of the person, someone who doesn't actually exist, because the fantasy offers emotional relief. Meanwhile, the real person continues offering inconsistency. A message today, silence tomorrow. A compliment followed by distance. Just enough attention to keep you hooked, but never enough to create stability. And each small dose of attention hits you like emotional morphine, reinforcing the bond even further. This is why the people who hurt you become the hardest to forget. Your brain links them to intense emotional spikes, both positive and negative, making them neurologically unforgettable. But here's the truth that breaks the spell. You were never addicted to the person. You were addicted to the emotional roller coaster your brain built around them. Your mind wasn't chasing love. It was chasing relief from the tension it created. And when you finally see the cycle for what it is, the illusion loses its grip. The moment you stop romanticizing inconsistency, the craving dissolves. When you recognize that the connection wasn't a soulmate bond, but a scarcity-driven neurological trap, clarity replaces confusion. And you realize that the people who value you consistently don't feel boring, they feel safe. Because stability doesn't activate survival instincts, but it builds real love. If this opened your eyes, like the video and follow Mind Mysteries for more deep psychology, hidden emotional patterns, and the most fascinating mysteries of human behavior.